My name is Oshifesolu Adamilare. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as Formula One Column Africa. The sponsors of today's program are Rollness Resort, plot 90714 Cavera Road, First Avenue, First Town, Lagos. They have just the best services in hoteling. They are in a very nice and clean environment, great and conducive rooms, great bar, and we also have Valley Rest student accommodation, 380 Bosman Street, Pretoria, South Africa. Teams Gadget is the best place for you to get your phones, laptops, games, every accessories for your phone. You can contact him. You'll find his number here. The day 2 of the testing has ended, and there are still lots to learn from the teams. As the drivers keep punching in laps, they keep punching lap times to really scrutinize and pressure the car to test for reliabilities and how well the car will perform, knowing if performance conform with the results they got from the simulators and if their aerodynamic packages are truly working on the straights and in corners. Strange issues for Mercedes, with George Russell suffering hydraulic issues on his W14 and 34 minutes to finish the afternoon testing on day 2. The car was grounded to an halt as Russell was able to complete 26 laps and Lewis Hamilton was able to punch in 72 lap times. Of note, there are no porpoising noted on most cars this year, which shows there's a lot of improvement and development made from last year, although Alpha Tauri still shows a little of the bouncing on the straight, but not much. Max Verstappen continued in his strides of setting fast lap times until Guan Yu Zhou punched in some fast laps in the afternoon session with Alfa Romeo Sauber, running into the 1 minute 31 seconds. The Mercedes engine at the back of Aston Martin was really performing, although we know that they have been tuned down, but they are showing signs of positive speed on the straights at the back of Fernando Alonso's AMR23. Of note, the fastest lap time in each of the 2 days testing yet have proven that there have been tremendous improvement in development of the car this year, because last year the fastest lap times in the first testing last year was around 1 minute 33 to 34 seconds, but this year they are running to 1 minute 32 seconds on day 1. On day 2 they are in their 1 minute 31 seconds. And of note, that of a thing you should know, last year around the qualifying, the Q3 last year, the fastest time was in the 1 minute 30 seconds, and if they are doing 1 minute 31 seconds as of this time, day 2 testing, we know that they are going into the new season punching in faster lap times as regards last year. Although of note, there are lots of sandbagging, especially from most of the top teams, since the purpose of testing is to know their mistakes and to test for reliability of the parts that are working well, those that are not working, and also to know what to improve and how the cars will perform in the season. We know it might be difficult for Mercedes to catch the 0.8 seconds of downtime they are having towards their main rival last year. That's the Red Bull and the Ferrari. But we know it is to do that. We know it is possible for Mercedes team to do that based on the strength of the team and also the experience of the team winning eight world championships and the experience working on their car and also being an engine supplier for a long time. So we know it is possible for Mercedes to have learned a lot over the winter. And from last year, most of the testing were really done on the track for Mercedes because they didn't really have much time to do much of simulation except for during the mid-season break. And we are hoping what they've learned last year would certainly be brought into this season to make the season a great season and to bring the fight to their rivals. as we know. This season will be a very competitive season. Noting also that Mercedes over the years have been very, very reliable and very, very competitive. They've shown that for the past 6 years that they hardly break down. Even in 2022 season, that they had a very, very slow car. They were very, very reliable. They hardly break down. We expect that to continue this season and hope they can bring a more tighter battle this season to give us all more chills. And from what Toto Wolff has been saying, they've not really brought up upgrades to the car, in which certainly we know that Mercedes have brought upgrades to the car. They've not lowered the car to the level we know they will lower it to, and they've not really turned their engine up. F1 is a race in which they use modes for engine. They have mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. Though there are times that it has been stopped, but they've modified it. So we certainly know that they might be running their engine at a very, very low mode to check for not just their reliability, how the parts, the hydraulics, the rear wings, the front wings are working. And in one of the videos, I'm sure, maybe one of our shots, we will discuss some of the terms used in F1. I will explain to you. And some of the things they use in testing, the paints, the metal braces on the car. I'll tell you their names, and I'll tell you how they function to check for the airflow on the car and the aerodynamics of the car. Also looking at Mercedes' main contender, the RB19, that's the Red Bull. On the test track today, that car looks grippy, very, very stable. That car looks very stable on corners, in the straight. That car looks road stable, and I know they would give Ferrari and Mercedes the run for their money. And looking at that RB19 also, I noticed that car has not been lowered to the normal rider to give it less drag. If that car has been lowered to the normal rider, they will be racing the car at. Next week, we'll be having the lap times tumbling down to like 1 minute 26 seconds, possibly in Bahrain. And when you talk about less drag, when the car is being lowered to the ground, it reduces the car's resistance to flow of air underneath the car. And otherwise, if it limits the amount of air that can flow underneath the car, it is called drag. And the less drag a car has, the less power it requires to push through the air, and that means the faster the car can go. When a car is lowered to the ground, it reduces the car's resistance to the flow of air, and the less drag a car has, the less power it requires to push through the air, and the faster the car goes, even on straight and around corners more quickly, and it corners more quickly. And this transfers more power to the road without the car generating wheel spin. And that was also noticed on the Ferrari also. That Ferrari car looks racy, very, very racy. The car too needs to still be lowered to the ground. Most of these competitors need to lower their car to the ground. The Alpine, the Alpine is a little bit well lowered. The AlphaTauri is well lowered, and I think that is why they're having that the little bouncing issue they are having. And we know during the testing, even during the driving, each teams will be looking at their data. They'll be looking at each other's data to know what is going on. Though Red Bull certainly will be looking at Mercedes data to know what is really happening, if they're sandbagging or not. But sandbagging for Mercedes is difficult to track, because last year all of us thought they were sandbagging until they came to the first race of the season and really showed us their true color, that they are not competitive. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to give you more informations and give you more gist, give you more analysis in the race, give you more analysis, testing. And remember, the last day of the testing is Saturday. Let's hope they get the best out of their cars and they learn more. And although we know the 3 days testing might not be enough for these drivers to get into a car and get accustomed to the car and get the car tested in 25 and a half hours of work after resting for like 12 weeks or thereabout. They learn a lot from that and get into their car and move forward. Follow us, like our page, subscribe, share, comment, ask questions. We will be glad to answer you. Questions on Formula One or on how you can be part of this channel. We will gladly be here to answer you. And watch out for our next video. Like I said in my last video, we really want to build a community of not just engineers, drivers. We want to build a very good racing community in Formula One, not just for 1 year, 2, 3 years, for longer years, like 20, 30, 40 years, and looking on to people that would carry on the betting. I was asked today about how expensive Formula One is. I can really tell you, Formula One is not a child's play. It's a very, very expensive sport. It's a time management sport, and most times only the rich can. Most times, I didn't say at all times, can participate. And I can give you an example. Lance Stroll, the son of the billionaire Lawrence Stroll that owns Aston Martin. Yuki Tsunoda is a Japanese. His father is very, very rich. Zhou Guanyu, those guys come from a rich background. Nikita Mazepin, the son of the owner of Uralkali fertilizers and agro products and petrochemical products. But we still have some people that came from humble background, like Esteban Ocon, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, and little of them that comes from very humble background. And as you all know, for some of you that might be used to Lewis Hamilton's story, it was not just because he was black, but it was a very tough. It was very tough growing up for him in the Formula One, or should I call it the karting category. His father was his mechanic. They had to work hard. His father was working 2 jobs and still his mechanic and still his coach and everything to him. And to put even a cat on the track for racing is very, very expensive. But we are not, like I said in the last video, we are not looking at doing it in a day or in a year. We are looking at building a community in which we can get donations, work together, get people that would race, televise it, from there get youths, build something great, and create a greater future, not just for Nigeria, not just for Africa, but for our own individuals. Because there are lots of opportunity in Formula One. It's not compulsorily you become a race driver. You can be a mechanic. You can be a data analyst. You can be a marketer in the Formula One setting, and it depends on where you want to be. Like I said, it's not for our own generation, but it's for the for generation coming behind us to do great things in the sport, to be part of the sport, and to also bring the sport as an opportunity to create an enabling environment, job opportunities, and also bring a race or any other West African state, and having a Formula One driver. We might have a Formula One mechanic. We might have the first African Formula One mechanic going to 2-3. We might have African data analyst doing some other jobs, CFD, race engineer. But the aim is getting a Formula One driver, because as of now, until there's expansion in the grid, which might come in 2026, there are still 20 people, 20 individuals driving 20 cars on the grid. And we know how difficult it is to get the job. But when we start from somewhere, we get people in the next few years getting this done, we will get there. And I would like to hear from you, to work with you. Thank you very much. God bless you.